Hello and welcome to Moneylife News and Views. I am Debashis Basu. On August 27th, the World Bank acknowledged that the 2018 and 2020 reports of its famous Doing Business ranking, an index of the ease of doing business for 190 countries, suffered from data irregularities, and that changes in the data were inconsistent with the methodology. The World Bank has suspended these rankings for now. Now, this would deal a minor blow to the Indian government. It's a blow because the government was trumpeting these rankings and the credibility of these rankings are now in tatters. But the blow is minor because these rankings do not actually lead to anything concrete such as increased domestic or foreign investments. But it's certainly an occasion to remind ourselves three things. It is a state's job to usher in ease of doing business, not that of a very, very powerful prime minister. Two, there were flaws in the ranking methodology. And three, the ground reality hasn't changed much over the years at all, no matter what the rankings are. When Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi was campaigning to win power before the 2014 elections, he promised us development and good governance. He touched a chord in the hearts of millions of entrepreneurs running tiny to very large businesses by talking about how difficult India's business environment is, which he contrasted with stories of how easy it is to do business in Gujarat, where he was the chief minister. But India has a federal structure. Center and states divide power and roles. States impose the largest number of roadblocks to the path of doing business. And the center has a much smaller role, or they are very significant, but the number of things that the states can do to harm your business is very, very long. There is simply no way Mr. Modi could promise an easier business climate without all the states leading the charge. The centre's role would have been limited to enacting central legislation that covers some aspects of doing business, such as international trade, taxation, and insolvency resolution. Most of the permits and licenses and laws relating to land and labor are in the hands of the states. Mr. Modi could have worked with the states, at least where the BJP was in power, and created a low friction environment in these states and shown the rest of the country, look, this is how the ease of business should be done, and these are the model states, not just Gujarat. But he didn't do that. Showing improvement in an international credible ranking such as the World Bank's Doing Business ranking, of course, was too good an opportunity to pass up for something that this government craves about, the sort of publicity that would get globally. Since 2014, in fact, India has leapfrogged 79 positions. It had a lowly rank of 142, and now it has earned a place among the top 10 improvers for 3 years in a row between 2018 and 20, and the government has been trumpeting this as a success of its various policies. But the fact is that this leapfrogging in terms of ranking had nothing to do with ease of doing business. It firstly owed to very clever and determined effort in exploiting World Bank's methodological weaknesses that had put disproportionate weight emphasis on smaller changes. For instance, India's ranking also shot up because it dropped the need to submit a cancelled check with employee provident fund applications. It removed the need for traders to submit hard copies of documents and increasing the capacity of online customs payment gateway. These are the things that the government did which allowed them to go very high up in the rank. But the government was not just giving the methodology. India gained hugely in ranking because the World Bank itself changed the methodology. And so, while the Modi government celebrated India's rapid rise in rankings, the World Bank's own chief economist, Paul Romer, resigned in disgust amid controversy over changes to the methodology of rankings that the bank did. Now, there is another organization called Center for Development, which has now recalculated the ranking in a completely different methodology and showed that India's rank was much more modest than it showed. In fact, the recalculated ranking showed India should have had a higher ranking in the past, which is 113 in 2012 instead of much lower 132, and much lower ranking later, that is 114 in 2018 instead of 100, which means that between 2012, when the rank was 113, and 2018, when the rank was 114, these are all recalculated ranks, there has been no difference. In fact, the fact that the business climate had not changed across two regimes was exactly consistent with what we see on the ground. Among Prime Minister Modi's many catchy slogans is tourism, not terrorism. But despite ranking 8th among 140 countries under cultural resources and business travel, India ranks a low 109 in tourist service infrastructure in a study by the World Economic Forum. The key component of tourism ecosystem is restaurants. If the government was really interested in improving the climate for doing business instead of burnishing its own image by using the World Bank rankings, it would have noticed, for example, that a restaurant in India needs up to 15 licenses compared to 4 in Singapore and just 2 in Turkey. This is according to a report titled An Integrated Value Chain Approach to Ease of Doing Business by Pehle India Foundation. The list of those 15 licenses that are needed include licenses for health trade, environment, fire, tourism, pollution, music, liquor, wine and beer separately, legal metrology, police clearance, signage, operating timings, etc. Notice that all these are state subjects and some are under municipalities. For the Babus, each one of these licenses is an opportunity to make money. Some, as I call them, they are EMIs for them, extortion in monthly installments. I could go on with numerous other examples. Some like taxtortion involve the center, but I'd rather quote Vallabh Bansali, a financial expert and die-hard fan of the current regime. Let's listen to what he says. Unfortunately, in our country, government doesn't like to lose. If some tax regime or provisions goes against the government, it changes the law. The citizen is battered, and there is no way his innovation can work if he must always lose. Subsidies, arbitration awards are not paid fully, and therefore there is lack of confidence. We have gone beyond ease of doing business and come to a stage where the government has to say, please come and do the business. That's not a very ringing endorsement of the much boasted ease of doing business that Mr. Modi has been talking about. Thanks for watching.